What's up? What's up? What's up? Coming at you real swift today. Want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to come on in and join me for my conversation today. Let's get it. Give them a couple more minutes. Thank y'all for tuning in. We're gonna have some real good conversation tonight. I've been thinking about this, been getting my mind right for this one. Uh, I see a lot of people starting to pick at the situation that's going on in our country, especially with African American men. And, um, we talk about the fact that we need to stop black on black crimes and killings, murders, assaults, things of that nature. I'm trying to figure out why we do what we do, how we do it, and it gets to be a real headache when you sit there trying to figure that thing out because it makes no sense. And so we just have to get to the point where um, we are being intelligent about what we're doing and how we're doing it, and having intelligent conversations because we want to get to the root of everything. You know, I think the more and more we sit back, the more and more we'll be able to pull back the layers of the lasagna. I always talk about the layers of the lasagna. I think the more and more we sit back, we can pull back the layers of the lasagna. And I think right now we have to start having intelligent conversations. One thing I want to stress to people, I'm never going to be that guy to get on and grandstand. Grandstanding doesn't mean you're great. It just makes you a grandstander. Remember that. Grandstanding doesn't mean you're great. This means you're a grandstander. So I'm never gonna get on and try to push my academic prowess of who I am and who I think I am, the knowledge that I have. Um, I'm not here to impress you with it. I just want to make an impression. I'm not here to impress you, but I just want to make an impression. What I mean by that is similar to an impact. I want to make sure what I say stays on you. I don't want it to be just something superficial. I want to make sure you get this. I want to make sure it's a party or makeup. I got about 3 more minutes, and I'm gonna crank up and I'm gonna get it and I'm gonna get it going. I am so for real. I want to make sure that people are listening and they get this. If you got friends, share it. Tell them to come on, be a part of it. One thing I've noticed about my videos, I can't flood you out. A lot of times I will have them, and then later on they will explode. People will listen and look at it. But again, I want to make sure that we begin to start paying attention to some of the things that's going on in our country. And I'm gonna talk about the desensitization of the African American man. I want to talk about that. Why are we desensitized? Like, why are we like we are? People have a real good, I guess, well, not a good thought, but they got a mindset about why men do what they do. It's always you missing the mark. You missing the mark. Every time you come with something superficial, you missing the mark. It goes back much deeper. Got about 2 minutes. Stay on. I promise you, when I crank up in the next 2 minutes, I'm diving in. I'm going at it because I think we have to start again talking about why black men are desensitized, why we're killing each other, why does it seem like it's nothing, why do we do it, and it seems like it's okay. It's not okay, but I want you to get to the bottom of it. It's almost like someone who is a killer. You know, where did you get that from? What happens? You know what I mean? Like, what was your mindset? What causes you to do those things? And so many times we find ways to break that down far as dealing with murderers and rapists and stuff like that. But I think we need to start diving into why we are what we are and why we're like that as African American men. Again, being desensitized, you know, not being sensitive to certain things that's going on, almost taking a dead out. Boom, it's 6:10 about to go in. How y'all doing? Again, this is I've got something to say. I always tell you, I've got something to say until you start speaking. When you start speaking, then the game will change and I'll probably leave this thing alone. But as of right now, I can't continue to sit back and let this happen to my folks. There is this big conversation of we're doing the Black Lives Matter lifestyle. I'm gonna quit calling it a movement because Black Lives Matter all the time. So it's not a movement. This is something we need to be talking about all the time. But every time we talk about this, out of the mouths of African Americans, blacks, as well as European Americans, white people, and other ethnic races, but especially white people, European Americans, that always come to the conversation of, well, what's going on with the black on black crime? Wow, blacks killing blacks. And a lot of times we sit back and pause and think about it like, wow, that's a great statement. Let me clear something up with you. Heck no, it's not a great statement. It's not a great question. It's to throw you off. So here we go. Here we go. We're going to talk about this. When you sit back and wonder why we're desensitized, let's go into the most in-depth part. We're brought over here on ships. Now we're free in our country. We are free in Africa. We're free. You know, no nothing on our neck, no nooses, no anything like that. We don't have those kind of things going on. But then all of a sudden, we're captured. We're put on boats, on ships, on things that we used to be on there to catch fish and do our fishing and stuff like that, going from one place, one land to the next. On boats, we were able to do that freely. All of a sudden, we get captured. We get put on boats. We're in chains. We're uncomfortable as heck. So as a man, you know, if you think about it, in the African culture, men are here, superior. That's the one run the house. It's a man to say something. So much so that it almost seems dogmatic to Americans now of how that culture is in some places today, but was at that particular time when it comes to the man leading. So the man is on the ship. You put him on the ship. His family is on the ship with him. They're captured. They're taken over on the ships to the United States, to North America at that particular time. And they come over on ships. They're laying on top of each other. They're tight in quarters. Now, man, I came back and told her we were free. We was able to do whatever we want to do. I got to lay there and not say a word. Then I got to watch women who are pregnant by dudes that I grew up with in my kingship, in my township, who wives have about to have my king, about to have my son, my queen, my daughter, my princess. Cut the babies out and throw them overboard, or cut the babies out and stomp on them just to prove a point, just to create a fear. And when I bucked the system, they killed me, threw me over the ship. So when it happened, if I saw the next man get murdered, sometimes that would cause me, you know what, I need to be quiet because I need to make it to the mainland so I can see my people make it through. I started to be desensitized then on that boat. I saw women taken out of chains and watched the white men ravage and rape them on the boat. I watched us where we living in feces, where the man next to me dying, or the old man who used to be, a guy who was next in line to be the king is on there and he's been bamboozled and he's on this ship and he can't say nothing. If he says something, they cut his head off, cut his throat, prove a point. So in order to survive, we had to be silent. Nobody talks about that. In order to survive, we had to be silent. So we over there. We get to America. They put us in places. And those who call themselves owning us were so low down to imagine now my wife, who I came over here with, they put me in a shift role. And they take my wife and they rape my wife, and I have to hear them rape my wife. And if I make a sound, they kill me, they hang me. So I had to make a decision. Do I shut my mouth and let this happen and be able to raise my son and hopefully he'll be free? Do I stick around for my daughter so she able to do what she got to do so they can maybe get free? Or do I clown right now with this man about my wife and he has a chance to do this over and over again in my family? Desensitized. I had sitting there, tears running down their face. I know, any real man. Hold up, here's another one. I not only did my wife raise your children, but I had to treat your children when you ravished my wife in slave days. When you ravished the wife and she had that baby, both of us dark skin, this light skinned red bone baby comes out. No, it ain't mine. Still got to raise in my house. I had to become desensitized. Well, them my children. I love them anyway. Yeah, that's what we had to do as black men. So we became desensitized to something. Some things we were like, oh, whoo, let me move forward. That's what we had to do. Nobody talks about this. Nobody talks about how we had to understand that if my son bucked the system and he had that part of me and he was angry, he spoke up, he was going to get what Nat Turner got. They was going to cut him up in pieces and send him to the townships around because he was such a powerful dude. Imagine seeing a friend of yours hung in a tree. Your son burnt and hung and burnt. Lynched, as we call it. How do I feel? So I die speaking up. Or do I live and be quiet just a little bit so I can tell this story? That's a fine line. To all my women, you got to be careful sometimes when you holler about, be a man. Got to be careful. Because sometimes we lost ourselves protecting y'all. I said it. We did. Because see, if I leave here, baby, and I ain't here no more, that mean that man going to continue to have his way with you some kind of way. At least if I'm here, I give you a reason to stay alive because I give you these babies and I still love you in spite of. Anyway. But we've been desensitized even then. I watched the movie Django. I know some people don't like it, but it's one of the realest depictions of what really went on. Nobody else talks about it. I like Roots, Alex Haley book. I like the movie itself. Series goes a little bit in depth. But it was ready for TV when we were growing up. But the realest thing I can tell you is that, think about it. When I looked at the movie The Django, there's a couple of scenes in there that got me. One of them was when they're fighting. Monsieur Candy is upstairs, Monsieur Candy. And two bucks are fighting. And one buck is taking advantage of another buck. And Monsieur Candy says, hey, I spent good money on you. You can't let him do this. Now come on, boy. Turns over. Breaks his arm. Looks at him, says, you got to finish him off. Gouges his eyes while he's screaming. And then he kills him dead. Did you see the look on that dude's face when he had that buck face when he had to kill that other man? He had to be desensitized. Because guess what he said? I got to kill him in order for me to survive. If I'm sitting there and I hate it after so long, I get a mindset like I just got to do this to survive. Otherwise, I die. But nobody talks about that. That went on to the black man. Come on, y'all. And you wonder why we desensitized to certain things? We had to do it to survive. Then the other thing is when they're on their way back to Monsieur Candy's house, to the plantation, there's a black guy. He's in the tree. Older gentleman. Master Candy, I can't go no more. I can't do this no more. That's what he said to him. I can't do it no more. Says to him, now, boy, I spent good money on you. He said, I know, but I just can't fight no more. Eventually they go through back and forth, and he comes down out the tree. And there's some guys that got them dogs. They can't even speak English. Got them dogs, and he ended up sicking those dogs on that man, tearing that man to pieces. While the other slaves, the bucks, were watching. The one that just won was leading the line, and they had to watch another man get ate up by dogs, get torn apart, torn to pieces by dogs. See, this just didn't start with being desensitized. This didn't happen just a couple of years ago. Why you holler, oh, they out there, man. No. This has been going on for us for a long time. There's no excuse. It's the truth. I tell people all the time, you got to start paying attention to what's going on. Think the guy Big Long, think that might have been his name on guy by the name of Omar. That's his real name. I met him before. Good guy. He played Big Long, I think that was his name in what's the name of the movie? Harriet. I think it was Big Long. But he's the black guy that the white slave owner ended up telling, I need you to go find who been stealing the slave. I need you to find Harriet. That's what he wanted. Need you to find Moses. That man knew she was black and hunted her like a dog. Like it wasn't no issue for him. He was trained that way. He was known to be good for going to get his own kind. And you wonder why we desensitized about stuff? That's what was inbred in us when we came to this country. We were friends. We were family. We loved each other. But they knew if they separated us, what was going to happen? Now, later on, I got to tell you how we end up being desensitized and quieted. I call it the Emmett Till effect. July 25th should have been Emmett Till's 79th birthday. But it wasn't. Because in 1955, he was murdered. He was killed. Saying he whistled at a white woman, say he put his hands on her, say he made a move toward her. At 14 years old, he made a move at a 21-year-old woman. I don't care how savvy you are, how smooth you are. 14-year-old boy knows he can't cut up with no 21-year-old woman, no way. But he's accused of it. The store owner, that's his wife. They go and kill this man, this young fella. In Money, Mississippi. In 1955. It said it kicked off the civil rights movement, but do you realize how quiet black men got after then? I'm going to hit you with a conversation that nobody really talks about. When that happened to Emmett Till, that stopped a lot of family members coming from Chicago down to Mississippi, from Detroit to Arkansas. I just gave you something. They was like, no, I ain't sending my son down there. You saw what just happened to Emmett Till. And they lying on that boy. That boy ain't did nothing like that. So here comes a separation between us. Again, they think they better than us up in Chicago, up north. And I can't go down there because they don't know how to act down there. When it was really, again, the enemy who separated us and made us be that way. There weren't no black dudes that killed Emmett Till. It didn't happen like that. Those guys were white and they were acquitted. They were European Americans. That's the truth. But you talk about when we got desensitized, we had to watch that. There's some dudes that was with Emmett Till. There's some cousins that was with him that they shut their mouth, told him, you say anything, we're going to hang you. You're going to get the same thing they get. Threatening the families who live down there. If you say anything, boy, girl, you going to die too, just like your cousin, just like your nephew. That's what they said. It caused fear. So those young men had to learn to shut their mouth to survive. That's how we got desensitized. So when we come up with all this funny conversation we got and all this grandiose stuff, man, let's talk fact. Let's talk about what's going on. This has happened to us a long time ago. How can a people who applaud family and have Kwanzaa and all these different things that go on in our original cultures as Africans have all these family-oriented type things and then get over here and we don't like each other, ain't no love no more? We need to start checking it. We got desensitized by having a dad and not having a dad. Long time ago. No, it's going to blow your mind, but I'm giving you facts again. Good Times, one of our favorite shows. James was that guy. He was that guy. You heard him, you wanted to sit, you wanted to, that's the dude. James wasn't going. James supported everybody in the house. He worked his butt off. He did all them things. And just when James, working hard, is about to get us out of the ghetto, he dies. Guess where he died? In Mississippi. Chicago. Died again in Mississippi. Going to find his family, you know, going to work on the little line, the pipeline. Going to get that money. Dies. Mississippi. So now when you take James out, now you got Michael and JJ, James Jr., you got Thelma, and you got Mama, Florida, who was without a husband and 3 kids without a daddy. So then guess what happens again? You bring another black man around. Now, between that time, Florida gets a job. She get to doing what she doing. Remember, she became a bus driver. She was doing all this stuff and working and getting it done. JJ, you know, kind of trying to survive, trying to be the man in the house. Michael growing up, doing what he got to do in school. Walona being as beautiful. I mean, you know, getting what she could do. Growing up and making sure she would take care of her business. Here comes Carl. Carl comes in. Carl has the double negative, though. For a black man in the African-American community, guess what? He has cancer and he does not believe in Christ. So again, he dies off eventually. So now on TV, we really didn't have that guy. No, he had George, but a lot of us knew a lot of people who own stuff, own their own business. He wasn't going there, but he wasn't that dad. He was more sticking it to Whitey. That was his conversation. He wanted to show them, I am proud and I'm good as you. They didn't teach us any lessons when we were growing up as young men. We were still boys. I know what you're saying. You got daddies and stuff, and how true. You're right. But those are the images that we saw on TV. So you killed on the favorite show. You killed the 2 strong African-American men because Carl owned his own business. But you kill him off with cancer. And so where we go? So again now, that's how young men are desensitized and men are desensitized about being a father. Because the father figures that you showed us when we were growing up, you took them out of our face. Not a lot of us are going to read a book. We watching it on TV and everybody knows it. So when you want to teach something or push an agenda out, what you put it on? This thing right here, social media. And it starts to happen. So we got to be real serious and intentional about what we're doing. Again, man, we're losing out here. I don't know why. We can't see why we're losing. I need us to wake up. I need us to start being serious about this thing. Man, we desensitized, but we can get it back on track. How? By having these conversations. These conversations count. Well, we're talking about what's wrong so we can make it right. We're losing. There's so much longer, so much more I can say on here, but I just want to keep you on for 30 minutes. That's it. I want to get out of here. But now, once you hear this, you welcome to send me an inbox on Messenger, whatever it is, and we can talk about this thing holistically. I think it needs to be some courageous conversations out here about what's going on, so people can hear and people can talk about this, so we can be healed as a race. So we can have conversations with young men and talk to them about their business. We can talk to them and have them understand and know why this is going on and how we can build from this. How we can have women to understand it's deeper than what you screaming, baby. I need you to take an in-depth look. Where was I when this was going on? I was sitting back smiling while you were getting ravaged and raped and ridiculed and having to raise their children better than our own that we got in the house. While you had to cook and clean and come in the house and do what you had to do. They made me go out here and get with this other woman so they can have big bucks because I was big. I became desensitized sometimes because I wasn't with one woman. They made me mate so they can have big babies and big bucks so they can sell them. That's what they did to me. So yeah, I have thoughts sometimes that's really in depth that they brought that I had to have plenty of women. No. It's no excuse. It's my truth. Help. That's what we need. Help. We need help so the healing can start. Hey man, y'all know how I feel. You know my favorite line before I go. I just want y'all to know, man, that we can get better. But black men are not desensitized because they wanted to be. It's because they had to be. And now, being desensitized is not what we gotta do. We gotta get all the way better. Before I get out of here, I got a couple more minutes. According to this, I've been on live for 27 minutes, so I want to say this to you. Hey, I apologize. I apologize for being insensitive and being desensitized about stuff that's going on. I apologize. I have to check myself sometimes because I wonder why I care about it so much now when I should have been caring so much about it then. I apologize for sometimes not caring about things that you were caring about. Not explaining myself. Feeling like because I'm a man, you ought to see what I'm going through. And not be willing to tell you what I'm going through and why I feel this way. I apologize for not trusting you with my feelings. Because sometimes, baby, you can be rough. And then you can be too soft. I share my feelings with you, you start crying. Or I share my feelings with you and you tell me it's just a part of life. Sometimes I need you to just sit there. But I've got to trust you with my feelings enough that you'll listen to me and I'll get better. I apologize for not communicating like I should. Being rough sometimes. Because I'm in taught and I've been desensitized so much I feel like we got to do it this way and that's that. And you see the vision, I'm going to get us there. And our intentions are good, but our words are awful. I apologize. I apologize for not listening to my dad and not listening to my mom sometimes. Because they had the knowledge. I thought I had made it. I apologize. Should have been listening. I got desensitized to say, man, I already made it and it's done. And I was wrong. So excuse me, but I wanted to apologize. This ain't my apology. It's your apology, brother. It's for all my black men that's out there that's being desensitized. If you've been desensitized, man, I'm going to tell you, man, we got to get better. You know my line. I'm about to get out of here. I love you more than you love me. If it ain't so, prove it. Root to the cube. But before I go, remember, I got something to say. We are going to get better as black men. And I'm out.